Forever Dog.
From the spacious Forever Dog Studios in Los Angeles, California, and the satellite Forever Dog Studios in Baltimore, Maryland, this is Groomzilla's. And now your hosts, Dan Gill and Eric Dodorian.
What? What is that? You threw me a knuckleball.
Oh, I am inside your head.
And I swung at it until I was like a corkscrew in the dirt.
Well, yeah. How can you not swing at a knuckleball? It fooled you. Those knucklers. You know, my dad taught me how to throw a knuckleball when I was a kid. True story.
Oh, I want to see you throw a knuckleball.
I can throw a knuckle. It's not very fast.
There should be a remake of that movie, Rookie of the Year, when the boy, he falls and he breaks his arm and all of a sudden he can pitch.
Yes, I do.
Do you know that movie?
I do know when the boy falls, yeah.
And instead of a boy, make it a man. What if a man is just like working? He's like, he doesn't have a job. His wife's like, you got to get a job.
Yeah. And he's in Baltimore.
He's in Baltimore and he probably is not as good looking as some of his other friends.
Oh. But he has that je ne sais quoi.
There is something about him. He's not married, but there is something about him. And he just kind of gets so high one night that he just figures out how to throw a crazy ass curveball.
Oh, there's no injury involved.
No, he gets so high that he figures out. Yeah, he gets so high that just in his mind, with his mind.
Okay. It's like when that one pitcher threw the no-hitter on acid.
Doc Ellis, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like Doc Ellis, obviously way less cool.
Yeah. That's kind of fun because then your protagonist is going through that story and he has to, there's a little fun in him having to stay high to remember how to be good at pitching.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
And then there's, of course, and then you can get into the whole hypocrisy with the way people police weed and all this stuff. And Baltimore and the Orioles are really bad. And so he just, and they're so bad. They have an open tryout.
Okay.
And then,
I get it.
And this kid just takes a fucking bong rip and he can just fling it up there. All of a sudden he can just throw really hard.
Yeah.
He just figures out mechanics.
Yeah. I like that.
He's like a built dude. Like he's pretty big. He's probably not in the best shape.
Sure.
But he's a big guy. He's an athlete for sure. Maybe a dancer.
He's very fast. He's
maybe
very
a
fast.
dancer.
Yeah,
incredibly fast.
Very, very graceful. Yeah,
beautiful.
Eric,
beautiful.
I love that pitch about that movie about a pitcher.
Yeah, it's not a boy, but a man.
All right. Food for thought there. Welcome to Groomzilla's. This is, of course, the only wedding planning podcast by grooms for grooms and everyone in between. That's Eric Dodorian. I'm Dan Gill.
Hi. Hi, thanks for listening. We love you.
Hey, thanks for listening, Wetheads. We got a great show for you this week. The great Ryan Singer is here. Stop by the spacious Forever Dog Studios. We had a very fun conversation. Look, I would stick around for this one because this one just moved along on its own energy. It was on its own path. It was like a perpetual motion machine of conversation. Yeah. Can I say that?
Yeah.
Is that accurate?
Yeah.
All right.
Sometimes when we have a guest on, it's kind of like when a bunch of musicians meet in a room, and there's like a bunch of instruments and maybe some sandwiches out, and and everyone's kind of eating and talking, and then you kind of get to the meat, and then everyone kind of picks up an instrument, and you're kind of should you go, and then you do that, and I'll do this.
A lot of noodling around, no real songs being played.
Sometimes, like today's or Ryan Singer conversation, you plug in and play.
Yeah.
You plug in and you play. There's no sandwiches.
There's no sandwiches. The song, the music is already going when you come into the room. The band's already playing.
He's already playing, and somehow he knows like your uncle. He's like, how the fuck do you know Ryan Singer? Your dad.
Yeah.
So spooky.
Very spooky.
By the way, happy October, Dan. Are you scared? Are you scared yet, boy?
Happy October to you, boy. I'm very spooked out. I love October, man. I mean,
it's my favorite month. It's my favorite month by far.
Oh, I love death. I love October
the Beyond.
Baseball. You love what?
I love the Beyond.
Well, yeah, man. I love the Beyond. I love Bed and Bath,
I love Death.
too.
I love the Beyond. Oh, yeah. Baseball's getting to the postseason. Basketball starting up. You know me, I'm a big hoops head.
Yeah. Well, Eric, I'm coming up on my 1-year anniversary. I got married in October last year.
I know it's next week.
I love October, man. Oh, I got to finish those. I got to finish those thank you cards. That's
yeah. Do you guys have 1-year anniversary plans, boy?
Great question, boy. We don't have specific plans. We were thinking about doing a little like anniversary party at a bar somewhere, but that hasn't materialized just yet.
Okay. But that could be that could be a last minute thing. Easy.
That could be a last minute thing. Either way, we'll probably spend the day together. Here's my plan.
I hope so.
I hope so. Yeah, we're gonna be together.
I hope you guys spend the day together. I hope I come up at some point and just talk about me a little bit.
Oh,
and then have a nice meal. A nice meal.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, I'll try to shoehorn you into the conversation somewhere. I'm sure you might pop your head somewhere.
I mean, if I come up organically, then
if you come up, you come up. If you don't,
don't force it. Don't force it.
Never.
Do me a favor.
Never force anything.
Danny, don't force it.
Eric,
Betty.
Don't force. Don't in life.
Hello. What is this?
Eric,
what is this?
Eric, in life, don't force. Okay, please don't force.
Oh.
All right, we're feeling. That's my first impression.
Is that your first impression?
I think it's time. I don't know what that was. You sounded East Coast, New York. Maybe ethnic, maybe stereotypic.
Stereotypic. A little bit. I don't know.
A little bit
maybe.
of a stereotype. I think it was an ethnic stereotype of some kind.
I definitely want to. I definitely want to hear more about this person. I want to hang out with them.
Eric.
What?
Eric, don't force
it. Danny.
Eric, who you got for this week? Well, let's play the music. I don't know if we have any, but let's play the music for first impressions. Alec, our sound engineer, will find some really good choice stuff for that. Have you been putting in stuff for that or not really? You have? Oh, good. Yes. I know. I got to listen to this. The work of Alec. I got to listen to our own podcast. Okay, I think the music is played. Thank you for that, Alec, our fantastic sound engineer. Eric, I know you got one just champing at the bit, so why don't you go first?
I want us to both. I think it'd be cute and fun if we both do Rosie Perez from White Man Can't Jump.
I can't do it. I can't do it. It'll be a public takedown. I'm a white man from Iowa. The voice I just did, I think, was already offensive enough.
Yeah, but this is a specific person. If you're like, this is a person that I'm doing, you know.
Yeah. I can't even hear Rosie Perez's voice. I've only seen White Man Can't Jump once. I know, but I've seen. There's
nothing I can do with
what's the Spike Lee movie she's in? That's
Do the Right Thing.
Do the Right Thing. I've seen that more, but I can't think of her voice. Maybe if someone could refresh how Rosie Perez sounds.
Here's my impression of Rosie Perez in the movie White Man Can't Jump. So if you have seen this movie, then you're going to enjoy this. And you haven't seen this movie, then just skip ahead. Here's my impression of this. And this is Rosie Perez.
From what?
In White Man Can't Jump, there's a scene, very famous scene, where she's a contestant on the game show Jeopardy.
Okay.
And so and on Jeopardy, the way they have it on Jeopardy is they have a bunch of...
Jesus Christ.
Stop. I have to explain Jeopardy or else I can't do the impression.
Oh my God.
Don't make me laugh.
I'll take the next segment for 100, Alec.
All right. Don't make me cry. Don't make me laugh, but don't make me cry either.
All right.
Okay. So, this is Rosie Perez in the movie. And she's on Jeopardy, and so she's picking, what are those things called that you pick?
Category.
Categories. So she's picking a category on Jeopardy in the movie White Man Can't Jump. And I think, what is her character's name?
Nobody cares. Nobody's listening anymore. Just do the Rosie Perez so we can move on. We got some hot nups news coming in. I'm not even going to do my first impression this week. We've burned too much time. We got to get to Ryan.
Her name is Gloria.
Oh,
Gloria.
Good.
Okay, so this is Gloria, played by Rosie Perez in the movie White Man Can't Jump. And here it goes. Foods that start with the letter Q.
Okay.
Foods. What is a quince?
Okay.
Foods that start with the letter Q.
Uh-huh.
There it is. Let's get it.
All right.
Foods. Okay.
In lieu of my impression of Rosie Perez, because I will not be doing one, because I will not be the subject of a public takedown this week. Maybe next week.
Foods that start with the letter Q.
I am just going to refer people to Rosie Perez's dance videos from when she was on. What dance show was she on? It was
Soul Train.
Soul Train. Just go watch Rosie Perez on Soul Train. It's fucking sweet. That was first.
Wait, you're not going to do it? You're not going to do it?
Foods that start with the letter Q.
No, see, you always take it.
What did I do?
You always take it to the next. You always take it to the East Coast.
Hey, man, I didn't want to be here.
Well, she's an East Coaster. She's from New York.
Yeah.
She's from New York.
Eric.
Do me a favor. Go watch the movie. Rewatch the movie.
Okay.
Rewatch the movie and come back to me.
Okay. I'll go watch Blade and
oh, my God. Is it?
It's Wesley Snipes, right?
Oh, my God.
It's Blade and it's that guy from Cheers.
Yeah.
I'll go watch it.
Yeah. Sam Malone. Sam Malone. Mayday Malone.
Oh, I thought it was Norm.
And it's a long drive.
Farmer John hot dogs. I'll take. What was the Jeopardy question?
Dodger Dogs.
I'll take
foods that start with the letter Q.
Foods that start with the letter Q. I'll take foods that start with the letter F. Farmer John hot dog. All right. Thank you for
Dodger Dogs. It's Farmer John. It's Farmer John Dodger Dogs.
Oh, Farmer John Dodger Dog. All right. That's first impressions. Let's get to the Nup News, because I fear we are losing our loyal wetheads.
It's 9:19.
It's what?
They love it.
Oh my God! It is 9. It's 9 o'clock.
It's 9:19.
It's. Let's play. It's time for Nup News at 9. This is the Nup News at 9. The nuptial news with Dan.
Don't milk me.
And Eric.
And me. I'm here too. Don't make me cry. Don't make me laugh, but don't make
him cry. Hey. As always, try to listen to the Nup News this week on the 9s, 9 a.m., 9 p.m., or on the 9s. It's just going to improve the experience. Eric, I got some news for you about Gwen Paltrow.
What do you got?
I got some news about...
Danny.
Eric.
Danny, what do you got?
Eric.
Danny, what do you got?
Eric.
What do you got, Dan?
Eric, Gwen Paltrow married Brad Falchuk.
GP married BF. Big fucking deal. All right. No, I'm sorry.
Gwen Paltrow.
Oh yeah, what was their wedding like? I bet it was really understated and sane.
Little bit. Was it? Little bit. It was a little understated. Not as many A-listers as people were expecting based on her engagement party, which had the likes of Beyonce and Jay-Z.
Yeah.
They couldn't be
Beyonce
there
and Jay-Z were there?
No, they were at the engagement party though. Yeah. I'll tell you who was there. A little Jerry Seinfeld, a little Cameron D, Steven Spielberg. Ever heard of him? Rob Lowe, Robert Downey Jr. That's all I got.
Okay. It's like the A- list. That's the A- list.
Yeah. Also
it's
not
a little.
Also not in attendance.
You know,
was her ex Chris Martin couldn't make it either, which I didn't know.
Well, that'd be weird.
Eric, listen to this. He's dating Dakota Johnson. Huh.
I could see that.
Huh.
I could see that. They're both empty vessels. They're both empty vessels.
Wow. Is that what is that supposed to mean? Shot across the bow.
You just pour whatever you want into them.
That was a real cold.
I mean, Dakota's an actor.
Me. Well, yeah, that's good. That's a compliment for her because she should be a vessel.
That's a compliment for her.
Yeah,
but not old other boy. Okay. Oh, what's a fucking okay? Sorry.
All right.
Could you imagine the horrible song? Could you imagine the horrible song that he would write had he gone to his ex's wedding? Jesus fucking Christ.
Also in the news, Gisele Bündchen shares rare intimate details about her wedding to Tom Brady. Now do you want me to go?
Oh, good.
Let's do that again. That was very unconvincing. So let's take that again, Eric. Gisele Bündchen shares rare intimate details about her wedding to Tom Brady.
Oh, yay. Yay.
People ate Mexican food at their wedding, Eric.
It's almost like
they drank margaritas. They sat and stood in the kitchen or on the lawn or by the side of the pool. My sister Patty and Tom's Julie each read beautiful poem, and everyone had a slice of chocolate wedding cake. Tom made a playlist. He had songs by Ray LaMontagne, Amos Lee, James Taylor, and others. And at some point, my friend Nino, whom I've known since my earliest days in New York and who's like a brother to me, plugged in his iPod. Sounds pretty fun. Are we still a wedding podcast?
Oh, it's so low key. They're so down to earth. They're so down to earth. Someone plugged in their iPod at their wedding. Oh, by the way, they drank blood. The entire time they were drinking, they toasted with blood.
Well, yeah, they were doing their...
Ate a bunch of fucking...
Ate a bunch of what, Eric?
There was a big... They ate a bunch of babies. They drank a bunch of blood.
You're saying they're part of this Illuminati and they're part of the secret society that rules the world, and that's why they like Trump? Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't think that they're smart enough to be in the Illuminati. I think that they were like, this is very on trend. This is very trendy for us. I don't know anything about Giselle. I bet Giselle's pretty cool. Well, she's not because she's married. They're the worst. And like...
There it is.
I bet their wedding sucked. I bet their wedding sucked.
There we go. This is what I wanted to get out of you here. Yeah, I don't care. Couple of milquetoast, beautiful people. I mean, I guess that's what people like. I feel like
Tom and Giselle.
Tom and Giselle. Yeah. Eric. I feel like this Nup News was a wild, rip-roaring success, as is this whole intro. Do you have anything else you want to get into before we get to the main event?
I think we nailed it. I think that you again are being way hard on yourself. I think the intro was great.
Okay.
I said and did a bunch of really cool stuff.
Oh.
And it's like, we're not always. No, that's nothing against you. I was just talking about myself.
No. Okay.
But then. And I think your intro was great. I
did the NPR intro. That's what I did. I forgot to explain it. I was trying to do an NPR intro.
Danny, do the NPR again. Danny, do the NPR for my cousins. They want to hear you do it.
You're listening to Groomzillas on NPR from the spacious Forever Dog Studios in Los Angeles, California, and the satellite Forever Dog Studios in Baltimore, Maryland. We're going to take a quick break, but when we return, comedian, crystal enthusiast, and friend Ryan Singer. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Groomzillas. Thank you for joining us. We're back here in the spacious Forever Dog Studios with the great Ryan Singer.
Hey, everybody. It's a pleasure to be. I'm glad we finally we
started.
We made it work.
We started, and we got together. Well, this has been a long time coming.
Yeah, we've tried, and we had things that happened.
Yeah, we all failed.
But you know what? It happened when it's supposed to happen because this is when it's happening.
Yeah, exactly. See, I'm glad you're bringing up these vibes already because you're a positive guy. I would describe you as like a new age guy. Would you go along with that?
I'm a new age woo.
Yeah.
I'm into a lot of new age woo, as people call it.
I would say, what's Brian Singer like? I'd say wide open. This dude is wide open.
Oh yeah, wide open.
I'm wide open.
Yeah. I'd agree with that. What about you're not a crystals guy, are you?
Oh, I'm into crystals. I'm rocking rock
open.
right now. I could not walk into the water, I'd sink. What do I got on me? I got amethyst with some hematite. I got some.
I love hematite. I used to have tons of hematite.
I got tiger's eye around my neck. I've got some Lemurian seed crystal in my pocket from Mount Shasta. What's up?
Okay,
that's where the Lemurians live, allegedly.
Hello. Okay,
and I got a Freemason Lodge coin in my other pocket that a friend of mine in Atlanta gave me.
Are you hearing this, Eric?
Just in case I get pulled over by the cops.
I've been thinking about that.
I got married in a Freemasons lodge.
Oh, you did? Right. They're beautiful.
Yeah, they are beautiful.
Sacred geometry is how they're built, based on Solomon's temple, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, I don't know. There's something to it, maybe. I mean, I don't know. All the having dimensions and shapes and objects be sacred and creating certain energies because of the dimensions of a space.
Yes, I mean,
is that where? I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say it's like that movie Pi. Numbers have significance in the universe, math, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, because the one thing, the difference between numbers and letters and language to me is numbers already existed. and we identified them. And language we've invented, we've really created.
That's true.
And we assign sounds to symbols and things like that. But the universe is based on, say, someone posted this this Instagram account I follow that's beautiful. It's called Mind Altering Media. And she's kind of like an alt news, kind of like new age woo kind of thing. UFOs, aliens, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And she posted a time lapse of a 1 lunar cycle. And you see like the zigzag, like it's like a sacred geometry. It's like the golden ratio in the sky playing itself out, and it was. I was just like, oh man, this is so. I just stare at it because it's so beautiful. Yeah, and you can kind of see the coil, the moving coil of how once. I remember the first time, which was what, a year ago, maybe, when I realized that that we are chasing the sun through space essentially in this spiral. Yeah. We're not all just sitting, in the same spot spinning around things. Right. That we're actually this coil of objects and planets and just rocketing through space. That blew my mind.
The sun's like, hey man, I'm gonna fucking burn out real quick. Follow me.
Yeah. He's like Jerry Maguire.
And we're all like, okay, dude.
He's Jerry Maguire and we're all Renee Zellweger.
Yes.
All right. That's not Jerry Maguire.
The sun completes us.
I want to go back
to
something you said earlier. You're talking about language and sounds and stuff, and I think that's really interesting about numbers coming before language. But don't you think that sounds and language, to me, are like the same thing? I feel like watching a little kid, because I'm watching a little kid like about to talk, like about to he says words, he says sentences, but he's about to have fucking conversations and shit. Yeah. And I could see the sounds wanting to come out and become language.
Yeah, I think maybe the difference really cool. The difference here is written language, ascribing like a symbol to those sounds. But language clearly, obviously, was always going. But I mean, it's weird too. Like if you think about the differences in cultures and how people smarter than me will talk about different languages. And if you saw the movie Arrival, have you seen the movie? Yeah. It kind of touches. This is what I love. I
love that movie so much. That movie hit me like a shovel to the fucking face.
It really rocked my world. And like how different language can affect the way we think. And how the different cultures had different approaches just because of the language they used and the way they were interacting with the aliens, which to me was so beautiful. But
it was beautiful.
So people who know more languages, I'm not one of these people. I'm a one language person. Right. Their minds are bigger. Yeah. Because they can think in so many different ways, like literally and figuratively. So it's like, to me, there's something so beautiful about language and like expanding your consciousness, which isn't even confined really to.
Well, you got one foot in brain. One foot on two planes all the fucking time. Your brain is just always bisected. And some people that just like, the people that blow my mind are the people that can speak like so many fucking languages.
Oh yeah.
And like, like fucking like, and their brains must be just like Swiss cheese. Like in like the good way, a Swiss cheese, but a good way. Yeah, is that the way to say it?
Yeah, well, Swiss cheese is also good in its own way. Eric, are you bilingual or not? I can't remember. You are, right?
I am. Well, I used to be trilingual. Well, no, I was always bilingual. When I was born, I spoke Armenian and Arabic, and then when we moved here, and I started like watching like. Learning English and like watching TV and hearing and seeing less and less Arabic, and my parents like fucking not speaking Arabic to me. Yeah, I stopped knowing Arabic, and so now I'm like just English and Armenian. But I really like I wish I spoke.
Yeah, well, my brother's bilingual, and I always am curious to. And I've asked him this before because he's lived in Spain and that was his primary language for a long time. I asked him what he like when the shift happens, what language you start thinking in is really weird to me, or what language you dream in, because he would dream in Spanish, which is totally nuts to me. If you grew up as he did speaking only English, and then he became bilingual, and then he was living in Spain for so long, he started dreaming in Spanish. I mean, you adapt quickly, and that's how people get good at languages, is they just submerge themselves in the cultures, and so you can kind of see how it happens. But just going back to what you were saying about Arrival and how you define your surroundings and the world you're in is, really dependent on where you are in the world and what language you're ascribing to the universe, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
And how badly you want to fucking communicate. Because communication, like if you really want to fucking lock in with someone and you really want to get something across, you just do it. People just do it.
Yeah.
And it leapfrogs language, and that's what I love. It's beautiful.
I love when people fall in love in movies and they don't speak the same language, but they speak the language of love.
Yes. The universal language of love.
That's my favorite.
I don't like when people drop the grammar hammer on people for...
I like that, grammar hammer.
Because the idea of language is to communicate a belief, a thought, a feeling, or something, right? And if I understand what you're saying...
Yeah. Just let
communication
it be.
Successful.
Yeah.
And I understand that, to have some wide parameters for rules to keep a language somewhat intact.
Yeah.
But it is alive and it's always changing and adapting.
I totally agree. So, and I always hate when people complain about the way kids talk or write, when they drop punctuation and they have text speak or whatever it is that the computer is changing about our language. At the same time, the old argument is, I helped my uncle jack off a horse. Can have many different interpretations with different punctuation, and that's why punctuation is also important. Fun.
And it's usually just and also just gets in the way, but it gets in the way of communicating. Like when you focus, when I say something that's or I write something, most likely because more and more we are communicating with the written word on the internet. It's you write something that is grammatically incorrect or there's a spelling error, but you get what I'm trying to fucking say.
Right.
And then you still on top of that choose to be actually, it's there, not there.
Sometimes I am genuinely confused though about when some
Oh no, for sure. No. If you're
drops away.
confused and if you're confused and you genuinely are curious about it.
Very curious.
then that's. But if I'm solely based if you know what I'm trying to fucking say and you still on top of that are actually no. Yeah. And it's well, you just fucking.
Then you just
made this harder.
That's the grammar hammer.
Yeah.
And there is in the future of avatars, I do believe that language will be the new race or income bracket. I mean. I taught very briefly for half a year, and I would tell my students, in the future, you're going to be judged on how you speak and how you communicate, how you write.
Always sort of been true though, with different classes, and a Cockney accent versus a
for sure
a high class.
Because there is something that you're communicating with language and how you use it that's not in in the language, but it's not there's people who are always using $5 words.
Yeah.
It's I have no idea what you just said, bro.
Right.
Yeah.
And that person would be like, I am not your brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so it's
brother, the Latin.
It can be so you can have people who lose you because they're so off the grid with the rules, where you just don't understand what's going on.
Yeah.
And then on the other side of it, someone who knows so much, they also lose you.
Right.
To where you're just I don't know what you're saying, man. There's four people you could talk to.
Right. Yeah. It's always good to just try to steer down the middle if you can, isn't it? Let's go back to some of those stones and those crystals. And I want to jump back on the hematite, because this really was a big stone for me as a kid. And I just have a point blank question about it. Is there any significance to hematite specifically?
I love it. I think the number one significance of hematite for me is I love the way it looks shimmers and shines. I just love the color.
Yeah.
And it's there when it comes to the crystals and the properties of such, and the things they allegedly do, and I can't really keep track because because I've gotten too many of them at this point now to where I can't remember. My brain doesn't have the capacity to remember all that. But I do know that hematite, I feel grounded with it. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember specifically if that's a thing that they say it does.
Yeah.
But I just know for me, when I've got this particular bracelet on, I feel like I'm not going to spin off the globe as likely as I might otherwise.
So you're not buying into necessarily what they're selling about the meanings, by definition, but you ascribe your own sort of thing to them.
Well, yeah, but that's not to say I don't buy into the idea that they all have a different vibration. And I was over at Starbucks right before this because I'm a pretty basic guy when it comes to my coffee, and I love it. and I was researching the Psychical Society, the Society of Psychical Research. Anyway, it's like parapsychology stuff, right? And I'm trying to like figure out the history and the umbrella just for like my own personal research stuff. And then I noticed in my notebook I have something called a note about zircon, which is a mineral. Because I watched this documentary from Nova, it's on Netflix, about minerals and how minerals are like how we come from minerals, essentially.
Yeah.
And it really blew my mind because we have the animal kingdom and we have the plant kingdom and then there's the mineral kingdom, right? And animal kingdom and mineral kingdom have always been separate. And then they're talking about how zircon has like information inside of it that contains the history of the planet Earth, billions of years. And people are like, "Oh, so why are crystals cool?" And I'm like, "Well, because you have 1,000,000 times the Vatican Library in your pocket all of a sudden." Yeah. And then I remembered we have skeletons.
Yeah.
So like we are mineral and animal. We have crystals inside of us.
Yeah.
Essentially, you could. I mean, that's a very unscientific way of saying, "Am I into crystals?" Yeah, because crystals are into me.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. To my bones. I like crystals.
Bones. And so then then knowing that they all have slightly different like molecular structures, and with that comes different vibrations. It's like, so yeah, I can get into the scientifically they are different from one another. So what's to say that they couldn't have some kind of energy that affected us? Now take them out on a full moon and getting them charged up to really juice them up, I do that.
Yeah. It was just a full moon recently, right? A couple days ago?
I was up in Santa Cruz.
Okay.
And oh boy, did I do some full moon magic in my hotel room.
Oh boy.
Ooh, some Lost Boy shit.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Let's get into that. What does that entail?
Well, a friend of mine who's pretty witchy. She texted me.
She's a witchy woman.
She's a witchy woman.
Sorry,
I couldn't do it without saying it.
No. Hold on now. Which witch are you witching? Now, which witch? Which witch do you mean?
Oh,
no,
boy.
I'm serious.
She comes with a free cup.
Witch?
Now I'm getting hungry.
She texted me because she knew I was a Cancer.
Okay.
And she told me this is a full moon. I think Aquarius, a full moon in Aquarius. And for me as a Cancer, apparently it was supposed to be really powerful.
Okay.
Like good for like some intention stuff. And so she gave me a suggestion about something like personally that I'd been dealing with.
Yeah.
And she's like, tonight, this is like the night. And so I was up in Santa Cruz doing a thing, and then at the end of the night, I'm in the hotel, and I'm really like, it's all about meditation, really.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of people get creeped out and scared by magic and other things, but basically all these things, for me, they boil down to meditation.
Okay.
Intention.
And mindfulness.
Mindfulness, yeah. Like, so crystals, like to me, they're like when people tie a string around their finger because they want to remember something.
Yeah.
When I have carnelian on me, usually before a show or at a show, it's because I want to remember how lucky I am to be performing.
Okay.
See, that to me grounds it so much.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I think that like when people are talking about crystals and you're talking about the zodiac and stuff, when you take it to that level that you just took it to, I'm like, I can fucking digest that. I mean, I believe all that shit anyway. But I mean, like, as a person who's looking to not believe in stuff, I can like, you can't fucking. I'm not saying that I'm me. I'm not me. But like people are looking to fucking debunk. That is so grounding.
Yeah.
And also like fucking salt. Like salt's a mineral. Like we're going back to minerals. Like salt's been around for fucking ever. What do you not like?
If I
fucking
could just
salt?
bring it back to salt for a second.
Are you better than fucking salt?
I love salt.
No, I'm into it.
We are salt.
Yeah, I'm into it, and I'm also I don't purport to be an expert or know really anything other than like what makes me feel good and what I like to like lean into.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like the moon and astrology, astrology predated astronomy, and it helped us. It was the science,
right?
And there was something to be said about it. And like there's these weird similarities between cultures and cave art, and like it's just mind blowing how like
just following that
humans
cycle.
all around the world kind of were identifying these things in very similar ways, and like archetypes of like like Joseph Campbell talks about a lot, and like talking about
the hero's
myths
journey,
and things like this.
Yeah.
But there's something in our brain, like Planet Earth 2. This is a great example. Most people have seen it when the lizards hatch from their shells underneath the sand and they run immediately towards the water.
Yeah,
they know to do that before they're born. They have imprinted information
something
inside
to do with
their
the
brain.
moonlight, right?
Yeah, and it's also they have instinct.
Yeah.
We call it, natural instinct is what it's called. But it's information that's been pre-downloaded from their parent.
Yeah.
And we also have that.
Yeah, we got
and that
reptile
is like
brains.
collective
We
consciousness.
just fucking cry.
shit.
Humans just come out crying.
Yeah.
That's us running to the fucking ocean as humans just cry.
Yeah.
My guys, the lizards over here are like, oh shit, the ocean. Let's go fucking check it out.
Yeah.
I've read something about that.
And then we talk shit about lizards. We talk shit about lizards.
I've read something about the turtles who hatch and then they go straight for the ocean, and they know to go that way because of the moon reflecting off of the water, the moonlight. So as mankind, started developing fake lighting, like, we've lit up the planet and you can't really see the moon anymore. The turtles are all disoriented and they started going towards like street lamps.
Yeah, they are, and they're getting a ton of them are going the wrong way.
Yeah,
because they come out and they say, "Oh, there it is."
Yeah,
and it's a Jack in the Box parking lot.
Yeah, but they get those tacos and they're fine.
Yeah. But I do love the idea that gravity and time of year can affect you in a certain way, like because gravity controls the ocean, like the waves.
Yeah.
So what's to say that when you're born into this realm, that depending on where the moon is in relation to the Earth, the gravity will be slightly different, that doesn't affect the coalescing of your physical plane self in some way, maybe. I mean, I mean, to me, it's fun to think about that stuff, so to me, I love the zodiac for that reason.
Yeah. I mean, there's some truth to the fact that we're all part of the natural world and we're bound by these rules that all other natural life, all other animals go by the seasons and are pretty confused by the changing seasons these days. And we just try to distance ourselves from that.
I know. Yeah.
But we make cool buildings and stuff.
Yeah, but we make really cool buildings. And
we make cool buildings. And like you said, it's like about meditating. And when you remember that you go back to the fucking moment is what like, I mean, I don't know anything about meditating. I just can certainly use more of it in my life. But you go back to that moment, like you were saying, the gravity of wearing a necklace that's grounding you. You're grounded just by that thought. To me, I mean, that's the way I work about it. I was like, oh shit, like let me just fucking deal with this moment right fucking now. I've just grounded myself a little bit, and then the deeper you kind of like dig in that little hole, the more I feel like you get in the moment, the more you can clear your mind, and like the more you can, everything else just goes from there.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Ryan, as far as like the new age, the whole new age thing about you. Exactly. Thank you, Eric. If I could segue to the topic at hand on this podcast, which is weddings, wedding stories, marriage, all that. It sounds like you'd be great at a wedding in any capacity, whether or not you're the officiant of the ceremony or you're just giving, your best toast to the couple. Have you ever been involved in any capacity in a wedding?
The most recent wedding I was involved in as a guest / like reception MC for my cousin.
Yeah.
I have two like my dad's brother has two daughters that are a little bit younger than me, and they both moved to the west side, south of LA.
Okay.
And the youngest one, who was the last one to get married, she got married up north, Northern California, in a circle of redwoods at a winery.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
And they asked me if I would MC it, and I was like, okay, usually I like to, like a family thing, I like to, be off the clock.
Right.
And not be like the comedy guy.
Yeah.
But I was like, fine, I'll do it. So I went up there, and I was just supposed to be introducing, like, the groomsmen and the bridesmaids as they enter and all that kind of stuff. But I knew something technically might happen that I'd have to stall.
Oh, okay.
And so I prepared material in case that happened. And
it inevitably happened.
And like half of the people there had no idea who I was because they weren't so they maybe heard that like, oh, there's a comedian in the family.
Right.
And the other half of the family, they all come see me every time I'm in Ohio. sometimes twice a year.
Yeah.
And, so they know how raunchy and they love it. And so, so there's a technical problem happens. And so I'm like, you know what? I knew some technical problems might happen. So it's just me on a mic and there's 150 people there outside at this beautiful winery. I'm like, and I know half the people here don't know who I am, but I do stand-up comedy. That's what I do for a living. I've done it for a long time. I don't really talk about like the early years a lot because contractually I was obligated not to. I signed a non-disclosure agreement with some very famous comedians because I used to write jokes for them. I can't tell you who they are, but I can give you some examples of jokes I used to write for them. So here's one of them. Let me try to remember one of them. Here's one. Like if you've got wood when you wake up and when you go to bed, you might be a redwood. So I did a bunch of "you might be a redwood" jokes. I had like all these "you might be a redwood" jokes.
Oh man!
Because we were surrounded by redwoods.
Yeah, I get it.
And so half the family or half the people there were like, "Oh, he's doing Jeff Foxworthy."
Right.
These are funny. And there's no kids allowed at this reception, by the way.
Okay, good.
So I've got like carte blanche as far as I'm concerned.
So you can go as blue collar.
You can really
as
let
you'd
it
like.
fly.
Yeah, and then half the people there were just like the groom's parents, who I didn't really know. I think the groom's parents, I don't know how it worked. They pay for the reception, right? And the bride pays for the wedding.
Traditionally.
Yeah. And so they're just kind of sitting there like, wait, we rented out this fucking winery. Oh, excuse my language.
Yeah.
For to hear some dick jokes from the guy emceeing, introducing like on this special day.
Right.
And I just keep going. And I'm trying to remember. I did like 5 or 6 of them, and one of them got a big laugh. I can't remember which one it was.
I was going to say how are
But
they
then
landing?
I just kept going. I was like, oh, I got that one big laugh. And I was like, oh, I got more.
Oh, that's so
and I
funny
kept
to me.
going, and then it was like, ooh.
Seriously?
And like they kind of ran out of steam a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I was getting the signal from my cousin, like,
Introduce us?
cut it off. Cut it off. Like we're ready. Because they had like the songs perfectly picked out for each person that was going to be coming.
Funny.
So
So then, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. and Mrs.
You might be a redwood. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time, like
man and wife.
the third person to say for the first time, So that was a lot of fun. And then later, I was supposed to do a dance competition thing, but everybody was pretty drunk, myself included.
Okay.
And that went pretty badly because I think I cussed a lot when I was like on the mic or something.
Cool.
Nobody was paying attention anyway. People were throwing up. My family like does shotgun beer contests on Christmas.
Fuck yes.
So like it's that kind of
I
shit
love
show
shotgun
happening
beers.
at a wedding reception.
That sounds like a good time.
But it was a good time, and I was pretty good. I mean, I delivered pretty good on the on the MC gig.
So they were kind of coming at you from your comedian background rather than your howling at the moon sort of Crystal's background.
But that's so funny. If you know that somebody's a comedian and you don't like comedy and you're kind of like ready to you're ready and you're to cringe about a comedian performing at a wedding, and then they do "you might be a redwood" jokes like that's
I know. That's pretty fun.
That's so cute. That's
Fun. Most of the people there really enjoyed it, but I just kept going. I think was the problem.
That's one of my favorite
I just
jokes.
kept
Run it
going.
into the ground.
Yeah. I kept.
well, that's
And so, but
I'm shocked.
Oh wait, I was going to say my cousin, her older sister husband, this guy Jason, he's like a yoga instructor. He's like a rock wall climber teacher, and all this. And, he's also very new age woo hippie. Organic, like all vegan, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Right? He was the guy who did the ceremony.
Oh, okay.
Because he's like even a little more new age woo than me.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I mean,
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. He had all the history of redwoods, because the thing that's crazy about redwoods is like they're like the icebergs of trees.
Yeah.
About how their roots are like go just so far underground.
Oh, is that true?
And
Okay.
you don't even like they're all connected into
That's how
this
they
like
survive.
network of communicating with each other. It's pretty
boy.
cool stuff.
Oh boy! Now we're getting
They're
really
so
into the
magical.
Avatar, the future of Avatar.
Yeah.
It's so magical.
Yeah, very magical.
I was gonna say I was shocked that you've never officiated a wedding.
Yeah, I've never even been asked to officiate a wedding.
I am shocked by that as well. I thought that's where we would be going today when we were talking to Ryan Singer. I thought,
I was like, oh, I'm sure he's officiated so many. I've like that seems like a thing you would just be so fucking good at because you are so thoughtful and spiritual, and you can talk, man.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. It's funny because I wanted to be a priest until I was 11.
Okay, there you go.
And then I hit puberty, and I was like, no, I want to use that. Right?
Yeah. What are you talking about? Use what? Use your God-given gift to proselytize?
Yeah.
Is that what you're
so
talking
I
about?
got out of the proselytization game right around 11. And that's when I first got friends, too, after that. That's
good.
when I started getting friends, when I was no longer calling myself the peacemaker running around school.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
Really?
I was just a crazy little kid who thought he was like a prophet, essentially. And
you were shepherding your flock on the playground?
And I'd get in trouble at school mass because I would be doing the ceremony, the mass.
Okay.
And the nuns
So this is
would think
Catholic
that I was
upbringing?
Catholic. And so they thought I was like making fun of it. And I'd be like, I'm practicing. I'm like, you don't realize who you're talking to, like I'm like,
nice.
The next chosen leader of God. Like I literally thought, like I had a grandma. I called her Grandma Jesus because she was like really into like all kinds of prophecy and super hardcore, deep cut Catholic. And so, like stigmata stories, all kinds of stuff. And I had been convinced. She didn't directly convince me, but it was a product of her, spending a month or two each summer out on their farm in Ohio. That I thought I was the next. I thought it went Moses, Jesus, Ryan Singer, Dayton, Ohio. Like I thought I was going to be the guy because she's like, Jesus will come back in my lifetime. She's been dead for about 10 years.
Okay, so we missed him.
We missed him.
Damn it.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you went directly to that as a kid. You're like, you know what? I'm not going to fucking beat around the bush. I'm a fucking prophet. I'm gonna act like a fucking prophet. I'm not going to pretend to act like a prophet until I fucking do acid for the first time in college. And be like, come out as a fucking prophet like most fucking white men do. Like,
yeah, I was 9 years old.
That's what I did.
Already branding.
Yeah.
Like it's true. I really thought I was, and then, I guess that always has been a part of my personality to kind of go big.
Yeah.
And have difficulties with like not understand like, oh, there's a limit to what you should be doing here.
The God complex.
Yeah. And
turns some people off.
It sure does.
I've been thinking, it's so funny. I've been thinking about this all fucking day about like comedians and that and like owning it. Like you're talking to a microphone and asking hundreds of people to be silent while you're talking to a microphone and you're acting like you don't have a fucking God complex. Like, come on. Of course you do. Deal with it.
Yeah. Accept it, embrace it, lean into it.
Yeah.
And I knew it at a very young age because my mom will tell the story. My brother and I shared a bedroom our whole lives growing up, which I'm very grateful for because it like made me like incredibly open to sharing space. And it doesn't bother me.
Right.
It never has. And luckily, I've had to have roommate, pursuing a career in entertainment lends oneself to like maybe having to skimp by from time to time. So it's never been a problem. So I got lucky. But one time she was walking past our bedroom and I asked him, I was like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And we were probably 6 and then 8 years old. He was a little older. And he goes, I want to be like an Air Force pilot and fly jets. He's like, what do you want to be? And I was like, I want to be a priest. I just see myself up there on that stage.
There you go.
And I tell everyone, Mass is ended, go in peace to love and serve the Lord. And everybody listens to me.
Yeah.
It's true.
So it sounds like I was just neglected from attention.
Yeah.
That I was a middle child, so I felt like no one paid attention to me.
Wow.
And I also didn't think it was an altar. I thought it was a stage.
A stage, yeah.
The most captive audience in the universe is an audience that thinks the fate of their eternal soul rests on paying attention to you.
Yeah.
Let alone having a 2-drink minimum. You know what I mean?
Right.
Talk about the best crowd in the world.
Yeah. That's your pulpit.
Yeah.
But you're not trying to be a hero. You're trying to be a servant. And I feel like that's like the middle child thing. Because I'm the first child, and the firstborn always want to be a hero. They always want to be like a fucking fighter pilot or or a president or like. They're the fucking golden children. So I think that's really interesting. I love that. I really, really do. I think that's like to own that prophet because it's so funny to me. Like there's nothing funnier to me than ego. There's nothing funnier than like a pomp and circumstance. You know, I'm doing a podcast.
Yeah, I know.
For you listeners at home,
right now is very funny.
I was doing.
He was doing
what is
like
that
a
called?
Oompa. It's like a.
Imagine the Monopoly man, like straightening his
He
bow
just
tie.
sauntered up to the microphone.
Oh, Mrs. Gallywether.
Yeah, I also think it's interesting how common it is for the line and for a preacher and priest type to cross over to stand up comedy, because I think Sam Kinison was like a former priest. I know our good friend Steve Big Hearn Hernandez was a former man of God, and now we have Ryan Singer. That 3 means always, right? I guess twice is always, but 3 just means
One of my
definitely
favorite
always.
rock stars, Jack White, wanted to be a priest until he was 11.
Yeah,
And he was like an altar boy and stuff. And he's one of my favorite rock stars. And so
I didn't know that
that's
about
pretty
him.
cool too.
That is pretty cool. Yeah, I was like all-star altar boy. Like when they put in the peace pole out front, which
is that what he'd call it?
That's what. Yeah, right. There actually years later it turns out, a priest at my school.
No,
at my church, who the school and the church were connected.
Yeah.
And all of the nuns and the priests would always come over to classes and talk every once in a while. This one particular priest never did, and it never really occurred to me until years later. Someone's like, "Oh, Father Larry Strittmatter has been outed as one of these guys who was moved around in the the relocation program they were doing," and then it clicked into me immediately, like, "Oh my God, Father Larry never came into the school, to talk to our classes,
right."
They all knew."
Yeah.
That he wasn't allowed. So to me, that was then I was like in this period of like, burn it all down.
Yeah.
Like I would go to my hometown and I'd drive by the school and I'd be like, I'm going to burn that place down.
Yeah.
Because they're all complicit if they all knew. But then it's like, you got to release this anger, because I was never, fortunately, I was never put in a position where I felt like I was threatened. And none of my friends that I know of were. But you just never, I don't know if he continued. But nonetheless, it is interesting to think that like that whole priest idea of like the power that comes with being a priest, like being the divine thing. Like I don't know if it affected people. Like I don't know if like my personality also is the type that people who are like really close to me family wise, who don't want to get married in a Catholic church would be like, oh, you know who we should get? Ryan, because they'll be like, oh, maybe he'll, what, he's gonna probably talk about his dick, like in our vowels, or when he's doing the thing. He's gonna make us somehow. He's gonna make a joke.
Okay,
and maybe we don't want that.
Yeah,
maybe we can't fully trust him.
Yeah, right.
To not make this about getting laughs.
Right.
But I don't know. In the world of comedy and our friends, I mean, we all know people who have done like ceremonies and stuff, like because we love that stuff.
Yeah,
because it's a little more non-traditional, I guess.
Yeah. I think you'd be great at it, though, and I don't think I think you'd stay away from the urge to start telling you might be a Redwood dick kind of jokes if you're actually doing.
If I'm doing the ceremony, it's not about me at that point. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
What about what?
And it's so much more. It's so much more structured. Like you're gonna have probably multiple conversations with the couple about like how far you want to go with the jokes and like how far you want to go with the sincerity, which is more likely the case. Because with comedians, that's the thing. It's like you're gonna fucking joke, but can you be?
It's a hard balance to strike.
Sincere with your emotions and words. Yeah, very hard.
So
and we've talked to comedians who've had to write vows.
Yeah, and even that's difficult for some.
You're breaking up. We're having a breakup.
Oh, are you there? You there, buddy boy?
Yeah, I might have to.
Let's take a break with Ryan Singer, and we'll be right back. Thanks for listening to Grimzillas. We'll take a break. So we're here back chatting with Ryan Singer. All things Catholic, all things crystal.
Oh man, it's so fucking bad. It's so fucking bad in Baltimore because the school and the church are tied in. The Johns Hopkins is tied into it too. So like. All these priests were going to Johns Hopkins for therapy, essentially, and Johns Hopkins is a Catholic school, and they were just like covering it up even deeper and deeper. Like, no, we're trying to give them therapy and stuff. It was really bad. We tried to get away from the subject on purpose, didn't we?
No,
I brought it back.
No, we're good. I want to ask about what your current relationship is with Catholicism and marriage, because Catholicism and marriage, that's one of the It's one of the things.
It's one of the big things. It's like when you get married.
Yeah.
And what Catholic girl are you gonna marry? You got to be equally yoked. My grandmother, Grandma Jesus, she would always ask me when she was alive. She's like, "Who are you dating?" And I'd say, "Oh, this gal, you know." And she'd be like, "Are you equally yoked?" She would say that to me.
Oh wow.
And
like an ox on the yoke, you guys have to be equal forces in God.
I guess that's what it stands for.
Okay.
And I would say
not strong.
Yeah. Yeah. Not like Jack. Okay. Yeah. We both are doing creatine every morning before.
Yeah.
But you know,
that's what Grandma Jesus really wanted for her boy.
Blasting your quads.
Is it a legs day?
Can you beat the devil in an arm wrestling contest? That's what decides the fate of humanity.
Yeah.
There was like a time where I said no. I don't know. She's like, you know, something or whatever she was, non-denominational Christian, and she goes, "Don't let her convince you to get baptized again. That's how the devil gets in," or something. I was like, "How can you? What? Like it was crazy, like stuff." And so I understand when like I'll have friends who like we'll have our Jewish friends in comedy who. They're not religious at all, but they end up like I gotta meet a Jewish girl.
Yeah,
I can't marry someone who's not a Jewish gal.
Right.
And I always be like, how is that controlling you still?
Right.
But it's a different thing altogether to be Jewish than it is to be Catholic.
Yeah.
Especially when like your people have been targeted for elimination. It's like it's a night and day. It's not even comparable.
It's a tribal.
See, I didn't even know there were Jewish people in comedy.
Oh, you didn't?
Stupid. Joke.
Comedy is no, but like
Armenians have that too. Like we have to stick with the tribe.
Oh, there was an Armenian gal I was in love with years ago. Her name was I won't say her full name. Her name was Nana, and I worked with her in an office in Glendale. Mm-hmm. It was I worked in this office in Glendale.
So far, checks out.
Yeah, so far, check it out. So it was a small little office. It was me, another guy, Andrew was his name, and then the boss. She was in a different room, and then there was this Mexican gal and 3 Armenian gals. And they'd always go to Porto's and bring potato balls. It was like in cutlets. Mm-hmm. And Nana, I was in love with her. And she was, they would teach me a little bit of Armenian, mostly just how to insult people, and like, let's say ha or che means no. And then like, if you say like eshes, I think is like you're a goat. Is that what that? I don't know.
You're a jackass.
You're a jackass.
Uh-huh.
And,
jackass.
Yeah, and so like I enjoyed that. And then Nana she was in like a relationship with a guy who wasn't cool. And like every once in a while she'd show up to work with like sunglasses on. That kind of thing.
Oh no.
She gets out of that relationship.
Yep.
I don't work there anymore. We go on a couple of dates. It's very intense. Like between her and I. Uh-huh. And then one day she just says, "I can't." And I was like, "You can't what?" And she goes, "I can't ever have you around my family."
Okay.
And I was like, "What? Am I embarrassing?" And she goes, "No, you're just not."
It just doesn't fit.
You can't. I can't date a white boy.
Yeah.
And I was like, screw your family. Come on. We're like we're Romeo and Juliet.
Exactly. Capulets
let's
and
die.
Montagues. Right.
And she's like, no, I just can't. I can't be with you anymore. And I was like, well, this is.
I'm so sorry, dude.
But like, it was, it was for the best. I'm not still heartbroken about it, but she was, she was, gosh, she was beautiful.
It's interesting it sounds like it was self-inflicted. Yeah. I mean, it is because of her family, but it was mostly self-inflicted by herself.
Yeah. And I'm sure she's very happy now. I did try to find her on Facebook not too long ago.
You couldn't help it, and she was just...
But I think it goes back to the thing that he was saying about the Jewish people who say they need a nice Jewish girl. And I mean, some Catholics do feel that way too.
Sure.
They end up marrying Catholics.
And I get it. And I don't begrudge her for it. I get it.
I've been in her position. I've been in her position on the other side where like my family was like, if you keep dating this person, then we are not going to be family anymore. Like you're like, they didn't like, it wasn't so dramatic that it was like you're kicked out of the family. But and no, like in certain terms that it was like, if you keep dating this person that we do not like culturally because they're not one of us, then you're not one of us. And I was like, fuck that. Like, fuck you. And like, and it was a bunch of other shit going on, but it's like, I can't I cherish being Armenian so much, and I love that I can speak Armenian with other Armenians, and it fills me up with a great joy, like very few other things do in life. But at the same time, fuck that. I'm never if I'm in love with someone and they love me, that's never gonna stop me, and I'm gonna cherish that person. And I hate that. I just hate persecution on any terms, and I feel like that's what that is.
Yeah, and it's I think it's also
you went through that.
What we take for granted is it's kind of a new thing.
Yeah,
being able to just cross culturally have essentially everyone who's alive in the West, or even other places now. It's like a buffet of people now, which wasn't always. It wasn't always like this. So it's kind of a new thing to be able to have this freedom to be
because people didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
They would live and die their entire lives within a 15, 20-mile radius of where they were born, and that was it.
And I think eventually it'll go the way of everything else, where everything else will become so mixed that it'll be a very rare conversation in the future.
I can't wait.
Before we get out of here, let's just run down.
Do you want to get married? Do you want to get married? Can I just ask?
Thank you, Eric.
Oh yeah. I'll. You know what? I always thought I would when I was younger. I always thought I would get married. I mean, honestly, when I was a kid, I thought I'd be long gone married by now.
Have you been close?
I've never even bought a ring. I've never even asked a woman. The closest I ever came to asking a woman to marry me was after we broke up, and a friend of mine's like, "You're going to lose her if you don't ask her to marry you." And I was like, "Well, yeah, I think I kind of lost her."
Yeah.
And it turns out, she's one of my best friends today, still, over 10 years later. And that's the closest I ever came to. I mean, I thought I was done when I was with her. I was like, we're going to get married. And then the woman I dated who lived in Baltimore after her for a couple years, I thought I was done. Like a month into that relationship, I was like, I'll end up marrying this woman if she ever wants to get married. And if she doesn't, we won't be married, but we'll still be together.
Yeah.
So in that kind of way, I would like to get married at some point for, just for the sake of someone being able to get my stuff, not my stuff, but to have, that partnership on a way to where, if I die, I have someone who can, gain money from that or, inherit all my debt,
Either way, you want someone responsible for your
I want someone
finances.
responsible for my finances.
You want to jump on a phone plan.
Yeah.
Just like that. That's why I got
someone
married,
who's got phone plan,
I said,
health
"Jump
insurance.
on this for
You just want someone to write in the will. You're filling out your will, and you're like, this is kind of sparse.
I have dreams of a family plan, and that's all I want.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
No, but I don't.
Is that your one-man show? Is that your Edinburgh?
Dreams of a family
dreams
plan.
of a family plan. The Verizon monologue.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, but I don't think marriage is like this thing that is, an abomination, or I don't fall in that area of I'll never get married. It's all hogwash,
right?
That kind of thing.
Yeah,
I didn't think you would.
I didn't think you would be like that.
Yeah.
I'm into the idea for myself, and other people can like it or dislike it as far as they want. But for me, it's definitely something I think I'll do on a small scale.
Yeah, let's get into that. Have you ever thought about the wedding itself? Is it going to be on a full moon? Are there going to be crystals involved?
I'd love that to be part of it.
Okay.
I would love, and obviously there's another person who has to be involved.
Sure.
The woman I'm dating now, and we're in a serious relationship, she's not into this stuff at all.
Okay.
Which I don't know if that, some people might think that's probably, some people think it's great. I have my buddy who we all know, Dave Waite, who's great. And I've known Dave for years. And he's like, it's about time you got a woman who grounded you,
Yeah.
Because I was always like, I'll probably end up, with some witch, and
right.
he's like, you need someone normal, man.
Yeah.
And so she's like a musician, and, she's not really into the paranormal. Every once in a while, she will want to pull a tarot card when we're hanging out to see.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, right. It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I think she'd be open to lots of different ideas. And, and for me, the crystals aren't. It's I'm not dogmatic about them. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it would be.
It kind of runs against the whole idea of crystals in a lot of ways.
Yeah, because it's all a spectrum, and we at our wedding didn't really consult anyone or have a lot of crystals around, but we really felt like we needed to be in the desert. That was we were we need to fucking do this in the desert, and in those, like looking at those mountains and under that fucking desert moon, like that was a huge part of it. And I think, like, I don't know, I don't want to speak, but you guys stayed home. Like you stayed in your fucking one. Yeah. And that's a pull too. Like home is such a pull. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that idea too of having a place that both of us feel at home, even if it's not our home. I feel that way in Lake Arrowhead, California. I feel like I've definitely, with as much assurance as I can say, or confidence, I've had a past life where I've lived in Lake Arrowhead.
Oh, wow.
I just know I have. I feel from minute one, I felt home there. And people treat me that way too, as if they've known me their whole lives when I'm there.
That's so good.
I'd like to find that place with her, whoever she is.
Where you both feel that way.
So like, let's say my girlfriend and I now, we end up getting married. It can't be Lake Arrowhead because I feel at home.
That's just you, yeah.
It's got to be the place where we both are like, oh my God, this is magic. Yeah. And I'm thinking small scale size. Yeah. I'd love it to be up in a mountain. Mm-hmm. I'd love it to be like a at sunset kind of thing, like even maybe a little dark. Yeah. I'd love a new moon. Okay. I'd love a new moon or a full moon. Probably a new moon. Yeah. Is what I'd prefer.
Like full and vibrant. Like full
and there's like, maybe 10, 15 people there, and then everybody shows up for the party afterwards. Oh, man. And that's when everybody shows up. Yeah. It's like, the party style. And we get like a music hall up in the mountains.
There you go.
And do some square dancing. There's some cornhole.
Do you have a date? I want to go to this.
Free vape pens sitting at everyone's table.
Oh, my God.
And rose quartz.
I knew it.
As well.
Wow. I knew it. Oh, that's classy. That's classy. Fuck.
I think the rose quartz is what they make the lamps out of, right?
Well, that's Himalayan sea salt.
That's right.
But I do have my current girlfriend did give me that as a gift before we were ever even dating. So, that was a clutch move on her part.
Yeah, big time.
And like you can lick that lamp.
Yeah.
Wait, you can?
That's sick.
Oh yeah, it's straight salt.
Well, that brings us right back to salt. I'm gonna do that. My wife has that right by on her bedside table.
If you ever want to do tequila shots and you're out of salt, you think
that's what's on my bedside table.
Go straight to the lamp.
She has the salt lamp.
They make shot glasses out of that Himalayan sea salt.
Oh man, and that's going to be at the wedding too.
That sounds delicious.
Well, if that doesn't work out for you, at least start planning celebrations where what you just described happens.
Really though, I mean that was like. You took me there, and it didn't take long to get there.
Yeah. You know what I'd love to do? I'd love to get married and then immediately, in front of everyone else, have a psychic give us a reading. Like, I'd be like, this isn't going to work.
Just on stage. Let's see it. Let's see if we did the right thing. Bring them out.
Okay, let's bring out Moonchild.
Moonchild just shakes his head. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Not looking good.
Sorry.
I love that.
My dowsing rods are going crazy.
How serious are you about that? I feel like you would do that. And I feel like that would be such a move.
I feel like it would be incredible to be able to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, a psychic isn't going to, in that moment, like say this is doomed.
Yeah.
Maybe you could just kind of do like a 3-card tarot pull right afterwards.
Yeah.
And be like, and show like, everybody like, oh, this was the past of their relationship. This is the current. And what does the future of our relationship hold?
Yeah.
That would be pretty fun.
And maybe just ask if there are any paranormal spirits in the room.
Yeah. And like, see if we can like
have anything to say.
And like, she'll just walk. Like I'll walk down. Well, I don't walk down the aisle, but I guess you can do whatever you want.
You can,
But like, you could have like the seats saved for like the grandparents' spirits.
There you go.
And then we could ask them questions through a channeler.
Yeah. Yeah, set a date. Set a date.
Is there anyone else? Who else? You want to talk to anyone? You're done?
Does anyone have any objections? And then a channeler goes, I'm getting something from your grandma.
Grandma Jesus?
She wants to know if you're equally yoked.
Grandma Jesus. Man. God. Ryan Singer, you're the best, dude.
That was great, man.
We could talk to you for a couple more hours.
Yeah.
I really want you to have a wedding because it sounds like you got this.
Yeah.
You got this. And
I think I will. I look forward to the idea of having one.
Yeah. And if you're out there and you're getting married and you're thinking about who should officiate, Ryan Singer, right here.
Yeah. Hit me up on my website.
He's available. All right, Ryan, that was great. Thanks so much for being here.
Hey, this was fun. This was fun, dudes. Thanks for having me. Oh, can I plug something real quick?
Oh my God, please.
Oh yeah, please.
I don't know when this comes out.
It'll come out a week from Friday.
Perfect.
Middle of October.
On the 12th? Or no, a week from next Friday.
Week from next Friday.
So the 12th, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
it's
Well,
12th.
the only reason I'm not specific about it is because on October 12th, my new stand-up comedy album is
my God.
released. It's called
fuck yeah.
Free Love, and it is free everywhere except iTunes. It'll be. I want an album, and I wanted it to be free. It's my 4th album, and I wanted it to be free for everybody. iTunes won't do free, so we did it as cheap as they could do it, $4.99. But on Amazon, on my website, everywhere else, it'll be free. I'll have free copies on the road.
Oh my God.
And it's. I want everybody to have it. So pass, burn. Or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Ryan Singer's Free Love. It'll be free everywhere, but I had to put it on iTunes because I wanted it on Apple Play.
Sure. Yeah.
So
well, that's amazing.
Check that out.
And what's your website?
RyanSingerComedy.com. And
Fuck yeah.
just to give you a hint, like some of the track titles are Reincarnation, I Believe in Bigfoot, Talk to Your
Yeah.
Water, Crystals and Magic. These are like some of the track titles. So if you like an hour of esoteric,
Just right across the
weirdo,
plate,
paranormal,
Ryan Singer.
yeah, it's the most Ryan Singer of all the Ryan Singer albums. So
amazing.
And then you're gonna go on tour, right?
Yeah,
gonna go on
you're
tour after?
always on tour. You got your dates
Yeah,
on the
I've got
same
a few-
website?
Yeah, same website. I got a few more dates coming up later
Great.
in the year.
Well, that's
Hell yeah.
amazing.
Go see him.
Go see him. Get that free album. It's out now. Thanks again, Ryan Singer.
Thanks, Ryan.
Hey, this was great. Thanks.
Well, that was Ryan Singer. God, that was fun. I want to have him back already. And I want to go to that wedding.
Oh, I know. He really slipped into that, didn't he? He really just slipped into that like it was a silk little nighty.
Take it easy.
And I really loved it because it was his wedding. What? I can say stuff like that. The FDA's not on my ass anymore, and I can say whatever I want.
FDA.
And they can even say little.
The FDA was
Stop
all up your
pushing
butt.
me around.
Yeah. Are we on a delay now?
The FDA was all up my butt, and I said,
We are.
no, I don't think so.
Okay.
I could say silky little nighty, and that's what is, and he's thought about it, and I wish him. He's such a good. We could have talked forever. What a good talk.
We definitely could talk forever. I mean, I think it's a sign we'll have him back soon. But if you enjoy that, make sure you go to his website and get that album. It's free. Why not? He's putting out free comedy for
Yeah.
you. So go get
Free
that.
love.
Free love. On
Yeah.
the Free Love Free
Not
Love.
on iTunes. Not on iTunes.
No, it is though. It is on iTunes, but it's not free. Eric, we forgot.
Danny,
we forgot to
another
close
great
up.
episode.
We forgot.
What?
We forgot to close up Nup News in the beginning. So can we close it up right now? That was
Yeah.
the nuptial
That's the end of Nup
news.
Bye.
Dun, 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 dun. That was the Nup News. Hey Eric,
Milk me.
love you, buddy. I'll see
Yeah.
you next week.
I love you, Dan. Bye.
Bye. We are on a big delay
Bye, Dan.
from my perspective. That was fun, Eric. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, it froze.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Forever. Dog.
This has been a Forever Dog production. Executive produced by Brett Boehm, Joe Cilio, and Alex Ramsey. For more original podcasts, please visit foreverdogpodcasts.com and subscribe to our shows on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Keep up with the latest Forever Dog news by following us